Here's a strange paradox at the center of manifestation. The harder you try to control outcomes, the less control you actually have. And the people who manifest with the least effort often aren't doing anything special at all. They're not visualizing constantly. They're not repeating affirmations all day. They're not obsessing over results. They're simply not fighting reality. And this isn't mystical. It's psychological. From the perspective of the nervous system, trying too hard is interpreted as danger. When you are striving, forcing, chasing, your body enters a mild stress response. Heart rate increases, breathing becomes shallow, attention narrows. In this state, the brain isn't creating, it's surviving. And a survival-oriented mind does not take risks, notice opportunities, or adapt fluidly. It clings. Manifestation doesn't fail because you didn't want it enough. It fails because your nervous system believes something is wrong. One of the least discussed Hermetic principles is the law of cause and effect, not in the simplistic sense of do this, get that, but in state-based causality. Your internal state is the cause. Your external circumstances are the effect. When you try to force manifestation, you are acting from the cause of lack and urgency, and the effect must match the cause. This is why effort creates delay. Reality is not resisting you, it's agreeing with you. Control feels safe, but psychologically it's rooted in fear. Fear of loss, fear of uncertainty, fear of not being enough. Hermetic philosophy teaches that flow emerges from balance, not domination. The moment you loosen your grip, you allow the system to reorganize itself. This is why creative breakthroughs happen in the shower. Why solutions appear when you stop thinking about the problem. Why answers come after surrender, not force. Control narrows perception. Letting go widens it. Stopping effort does not mean becoming passive. It means shifting from mental force, embodied readiness obsession, availability tension, responsiveness. In psychology, this is called adaptive orientation. You're no longer demanding a specific outcome, you're responding intelligently to what appears. And this is where manifestation becomes practical. Opportunities are subtle. They require sensitivity, not aggression. Here's what most people aren't prepared for. When you stop trying to control reality, you may feel exposed, unprotected, uncertain, alone. This is not failure. This is the nervous system recalibrating. Hermetic texts describe this as the moment when polarity dissolves, when you are no longer resisting one side of experience. Most people rush back to effort here. But if you stay, clarity replaces anxiety. Modern psychology confirms something ancient philosophies already understood. The body decides first. The mind explains later. When you're trying to force an outcome, your nervous system shifts into anticipation mode. This is the same state animals enter when they sense uncertainty, not danger, but instability. In this state, perception narrows, creativity drops, intuition goes quiet. You become less sensitive to subtle opportunities, and manifestation requires sensitivity. You cannot receive signals while your system is bracing. One of the most misunderstood Hermetic principles is the law of polarity. It teaches that everything contains its opposite. Effort and ease, control and flow. Wanting and having. They are not separate. They are extremes of the same spectrum. When you push hard toward one pole, you automatically create resistance from the other. This is why excessive effort breeds delay. You're pulling against yourself. True manifestation happens near the center, where tension dissolves. Not passive, not forceful, balanced. Here's a concept most manifestation content never addresses. Obsession anchors you to current reality. Because every time you check, has it happened yet? You reinforce the present condition. Your brain updates its internal map and says, nothing has changed, and it adjusts behavior accordingly. This is why people who stop checking often experience sudden shifts, not because they forgot their desire, but because they stopped reinforcing the old state. Letting go is not forgetting. It's stopping the feedback loop. Intention is quiet. Demand is loud. Intention says, "This is where I'm moving." Demand says, "This must happen now," or something is wrong. Hermetic teachings emphasize non-attachment not as virtue, but as mechanism. Attachment collapses the field of possibilities. Detachment keeps it open. The moment you demand an outcome, you limit how it can arrive. And reality prefers flexibility. When people hear surrender, they imagine defeat. But psychologically, surrender feels uncomfortable because it removes the illusion of control. Your identity has been built around doing, fixing, forcing. So when you stop trying, it feels like something is dying. And it is. Not your potential, your old strategy. Hermetic philosophy teaches that transformation always involves dissolution. Before form can change, structure must loosen. This is why surrender often feels lonely, empty, or unclear. You're between versions of yourself. One of the most overlooked aspects of manifestation is timing. Hermetic philosophy teaches that nothing happens out of season. Just like a seed cannot be forced to grow faster by pulling on it, outcomes cannot be rushed without damage. Trying to manifest something before you're internally prepared creates stress, not fulfillment. And this is why many people get what they want, only to lose it again. Alignment is not about speed. It's about readiness. The more still you become internally, the more effective your actions are externally. This is why people who stop obsessing often meet the right person, unexpectedly receive opportunities, without forcing make decisions that feel obvious instead of stressful. They're no longer acting from tension. They're responding from clarity. And clarity has momentum. Stopping effort does not mean waiting for life to happen to you. Waiting is passive. Alignment is active, but calm. Aligned action feels natural, proportionate, intuitive. You don't overthink it. You don't second-guess it. You act when something appears, not because you're anxious, but because it makes sense. This is where manifestation becomes practical, not mystical. There's something else people don't talk about. When you stop forcing outcomes, you often stop forcing connection too. You no longer chase validation. You no longer explain yourself endlessly. And this can feel lonely. But this loneliness isn't emptiness. It's space. Space where your nervous system settles. Space where old patterns dissolve. Space where a new version of you stabilizes. Most people never stay here long enough to benefit from it. At this point, manifestation stops being a technique. It becomes a side effect. You're no longer trying to control life. You're cooperating with it. Your thoughts are calmer. Your actions are cleaner. Your expectations are realistic, but open. And life responds accordingly. Not because you demanded it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. If this series helped you see manifestation differently, take a moment to like the video. It helps others find it. And if you want more content like this, you're welcome to subscribe. On this channel, we dive into psychology, history, philosophy, and manifestation, and how all of it shapes human nature and the reality we experience every day. If you're curious to go deeper, there are other videos here waiting for you. And if you know someone who's been trying too hard, share this with them. It might help them breathe again. You're not behind,